So we're doing my favorite thing, brakes. Because last time I drove it, I just drove it 100 miles, and each time I would hit the brakes, it would pull hard right. Now, I inspected everything, and it looks like the rubber lines could possibly be the cause. So we're gonna go ahead and replace them. Now, I had already ordered them before I even went down to buy the car. Now, you can kind of see how the rubber lines are cracking. You can see it right there, and they are kind of swelling. So, I would like to think that that would cause it to pull hard left each time I would hit the brakes. Now, the driver's side was also like that. We have already replaced that one. And we went ahead and repacked the bearing on the other side. So, I'll be doing that on this one. Now, I have not greased it yet, so that's nice. See, it has not been greased, and that seal's blown out. Now, I did grease the other side, and that seal also blew out, so that is good. Not. So I will eventually have to replace the upper and lower control arms. Now let's go take a look at the other side. You know, you need every tool. See, we have a new line. We did not strip out this line. Now what I did last time, I just cut the rubber hose right about here, and then I put my impact and socket on this end, and then I held the other side with a flair wrench, and it just backed right off. Now this design is easy because you literally just have one bolt, so you don't have to mess with another fitting over here. So I like that, but yeah, as I said, I already greased this side. I popped the cap off, undid the nut, and then there's a washer, and then there's your outer bearing. I scraped all the grease from the center and repacked it with new grease, and then I hand repacked the outer bearing and tightened it down. You wanna have it fairly loose, but you want to walk it in as you turn the wheel until you feel some resistance, and then back off just a little bit and put the cotter pin in, and there it is. Now I went ahead and changed the gear oil on the rear end, and I noticed that we have a fuel leak, which is nice. See, it's leaking from the filler neck. Now I just put a full tank of gas in it. It's been leaking since yesterday when I filled it up. And it's always nice to have to drill holes right by a puddle of gas for when you're mounting a hitch. But yeah, I mounted that hitch on there because I will be flat towing my 1988 Ford Festiva, 400 miles with this car. This is a class 3 hitch. It's rated for 6,500 pounds, 650 tongue weight. And there's my adjustable hitch on it. And yeah. Now all I need to do is finish up the brakes, then I'll bleed the front, bleed the rear, and I'll top off the transmission because I had changed the radiator. And you know, there's transmission cooler, so it loses some fluid. And I'm not gonna drive it again until Thursday when it's hooked up to the Festiva because I wanna make it to Minnesota to where if something else breaks, I can at least fix it when I'm in Minnesota. So yeah, here we are. Well, as I was saying about those brake lines, that was my problem. Those are why it was pulling left and right when I would hit the brakes. It made it about 400 miles all the way up to Minnesota, towing a 1988 Ford Festiva. It had no issues. It's been stopping like a brand new car. But yes, by doing the brake lines, the rubber brake lines, and bleeding the brakes all the way around to get new fluid in that isn't 40 years old, that seemed to fix it right up. So I don't think I'm gonna have any more issues with that. But here's where it's sitting for quite a while. Like, I'm not gonna be driving it anytime soon. Here's where it's gonna sit even when it's summer, you know, inside, protected. Here's a car cover that I got from Napa. But I do have one more rubber brake line to replace yet. That is the rear rubber brake line where it mounts to the rear axle and then to the frame.
I did not replace that one because it looked to be a bit tougher to get to, and it wasn't showing any signs of swelling or cracking, but that is definitely on my list to get replaced, so everything will be good and new. And if I have any more issues with the brakes, well, it'll need probably wheel cylinders, and probably have to rebuild the front calipers, new pads, of course, grease all the slide pins, all that normal stuff, grease the contact points for the rear shoes. But that's if it has any more troubles. But for now, it seems perfect. It should be just fine for quite a while because, like I said, 400 miles towing another car, and yet it was still stopping like a brand new car, and it was stopping as if that Festiva wasn't even behind it. So I was really impressed with that. But driving this car, I like to drive it slow so I don't have to slam on the brakes or, I just like to take care of it and drive it slow. But yeah, here's where it is sitting, and here's where it's going to sit for, I don't know, its entire life that I own it. It'll always have a cover on it. Don't want cats or anything like that to get all over it. I do plan on conditioning the vinyl top. I found some good conditioner on Amazon, so that should help bring that back around. But yeah, here's where it is, and here's where it's gonna stay.